What would you do if the woman you loved told you she was working late? But her office building was dark, empty, and locked down at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. I never thought I'd be asking myself that question, standing in downtown Chicago, the cold November wind biting at my face. Her car, a silver Mercedes I'd bought her, was nowhere to be seen. My phone, clutched in my freezing hand, showed her last text. The lie hung in the crisp night air, a phantom whisper that chilled me more than the wind. Single flickering street lamp cast long, distorted shadows, making the empty lot feel like a stage set for a tragedy I was only just beginning to comprehend. Where was she? And why did I already know? Her name was Sarah. We'd been married for 8 years. A comfortable, seemingly perfect life in a brownstone in Lincoln Park. She was beautiful, ambitious, and I thought devoted. The first cracks appeared subtly, like hairline fractures in a foundation. Late nights became more frequent, always with plausible excuses. A big project, a demanding client, a team dinner. Her phone, once left carelessly on the counter, was now always face down, always within reach. She started taking calls in the other room, her voice hushed. I dismissed it at first. Stress, I told myself. But the unease grew, a persistent hum beneath the surface of our domestic peace. One evening, she came home smelling faintly of a cologne I didn't recognize. A scent that was too sharp, too masculine to be hers. She brushed it off as a colleague's lingering scent. I wanted to believe her. But the image of that dark office building gnawed at me. I started checking her mileage, subtly noting the odometer before she left for work, then again when she returned. A few extra miles here, a few there, too inconsistent for her usual commute to her office on Wacker Drive. The real unraveling began with a forgotten receipt. Tucked into the pocket of her blazer, it was from a high-end steakhouse in the West Loop, a place we'd only gone for special occasions. The date was a Tuesday, one of her working late nights. The total was for 2. My heart hammered against my ribs as I stared at the elegant script, the damning evidence. I felt a cold dread spread through me. It was humiliation, a profound sense of being utterly foolish. I confronted her, gently at first, holding up the receipt. Her eyes, usually so warm, turned cold, defensive. It was a client dinner, Mark. You know how these things are. Her voice was flat. Why are you going through my things? The accusation was a shield, deflecting my pain, turning me into the aggressor. That night she became a stranger, manipulative and distant. Words laced with a subtle contempt I'd never heard before. The woman I loved was gone, replaced by someone I barely recognized, someone who clearly felt untouchable. The next few weeks were a blur of quiet agony. I started digging, not out of anger, but out of a desperate need for truth. I installed a discreet tracking app on her car. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop named Frank who worked out of a dingy office in the Loop. Frank's reports were clinical, brutal. Photos of Sarah laughing, holding hands with a man I didn't know. Entering a boutique hotel near Millennium Park. His name was David Miller, a senior partner at a rival firm. Smug, handsome, and clearly enjoying his conquest. Each photo, each timestamp, was a fresh stab. I saw them at a quiet cafe on Michigan Avenue, then later, leaving a discreet apartment building. The betrayal was undeniable, a festering wound. I felt myself breaking, piece by agonizing piece. The man who had been loyal, trusting, was dissolving, replaced by a hollow shell. But in that emptiness, a new resolve began to harden. I wouldn't just leave. I wouldn't just divorce her. I would make sure she understood the true cost of her actions. I started meticulously gathering proof. Frank provided detailed reports, surveillance footage, and even audio recordings from a hidden mic in her car, capturing hushed conversations, plans for their next rendezvous. I consulted with a divorce attorney, a sharp, no-nonsense woman named Eleanor Vance, whose office overlooked Lake Michigan. She listened patiently, her expression unreadable as I laid out the sordid details. We have a strong case for fault-based divorce, Mark, she said, her voice calm. But you want more than just a divorce, don't you? I nodded, my jaw tight. I want her to lose everything she values. Eleanor outlined the legal traps. A prenuptial agreement that, while not ironclad, had clauses regarding infidelity and asset division. The apartment David owned in River North was key evidence. I also started subtly leaking information to a few trusted colleagues at Sarah's firm, planting seeds of doubt about her dedication and integrity. I knew how much her reputation meant to her, how she craved social standing. The public exposure came swiftly and brutally. Eleanor filed the divorce papers, citing adultery and providing an overwhelming dossier of evidence. The news hit Sarah's firm like a bombshell. The carefully cultivated image of the ambitious, dedicated professional shattered. The whispers started, then the open stares. David, the smug affair partner, found his own career in jeopardy as his firm launched an internal investigation into his conduct, especially given his senior position. The courtroom in Cook County was packed. Sarah, pale and defiant, sat beside her lawyer, her eyes darting nervously. The judge, a stern woman, listened as Eleanor presented the evidence. The receipts, the photos, the tracking data, the audio recordings. Sarah's carefully constructed lies crumbled under the weight of undeniable truth. Her attempts to portray me as controlling were dismissed. The judge's verdict was swift and decisive. The divorce was granted with a significant portion of our joint assets awarded to me, citing her egregious conduct. Her career, already in tatters, was effectively over. Her social circle, once so vibrant, evaporated. David, facing professional ruin, abandoned her, leaving her utterly alone. I saw her once more, months later, on a rainy afternoon in downtown Los Angeles, where she'd tried to start over. She was working as a barista in a small coffee shop, her once bright eyes now dull, her shoulders slumped. She didn't see me. I watched her for a moment, a ghost of the woman I once knew, a shadow of the life we'd built. There was no triumph, no satisfaction, just a quiet, chilling emptiness. Some wounds never truly heal, they just stop bleeding.